Hi everyone, I am so elated about today's episode. My name is Rosebella Abok and this is SOP Podcast. We're shooting straight from Kigali, Rwanda, and I'm joined by Stella and Marie. Hi Marie.
Hi Bella.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi Bella. It's a pleasure being with you today, and especially that we are hosting you in Kigali.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy your stay with us and your experience has been awesome. So my name is Marie Francine Undisa. I am Rwandan. I am a customer experience champion. I've been in this industry for more than 17 years. Driving customer experience strategies across different institutions as well as culture transformation.
Thank you so much, Marie. Stella, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Bella. Happy to be here. Thank you, Marie, for hosting us in your beautiful country. We're having a great time. So my name is Stella Kamau, and I am the Chief Customer Experience Officer for CX Pro Africa. As you can see, I'm very branded. We're a customer experience solutions firm focused on working with businesses, working with organizations, and taking them through their customer experience transformation journey. I have been a customer experience thought leader, customer experience champion for the past slightly over 2 decades. And I have, just like Marie, I have been able to shape customer experience strategy across different institutions and multiple industries. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the CX transformation journey for businesses across the continent. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stella. So as we can all tell, we have over 17 years, we have over 20 years experience in customer experience.
Yeah.
Myself, I've worked the commercial journey, transitioned into customer experience. So formulating CX strategies and coming up with how people can transform an organization into being customer-centric is very core to practicing CX right.
Yeah.
What trends, Stella, have you seen a couple of years ago, just when customer experience was being socialized in the market? We could speak about Africa, we could speak about the context in Kenya. Would you want to tell us about the where we've come from and the where we are right now?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a really great question. So the customer experience journey has been very interesting. We've evolved from customer care to customer service to customer experience, and a lot of people don't quite understand the terminologies or the difference in the terminologies. And I believe initially when businesses decided they want to start taking care of their customers, which was several decades ago, particularly with the invention of the telephone, which led to the creation of the switchboard, and then companies started to create call centers call centers at the time. And I think that's when we used to talk about customer care, and then we evolved into customer service, where institutions now started to say, okay, we need a separate department from the sales department and the marketing department, one that specifically takes care or looks after the customers or customer requests or customer complaints. And for the longest time, customer service has been known as the department that takes care of customers' issues, post sales and post marketing. But then now with customer experience, we're saying no. Customer experience is not just the job of the frontline people or the customer service personnel. Customer experience is the job of everybody in the organization, starting with the CEO who has to champion customer experience. And why is this? Because it's not only the front office people who interact with customers. Customers are going to interact with the organization at various points of their purchase journey or post-purchase journey. They're going to interact with several people either at the front or at the back office teams that aid or that are running processes that aid the frontline people in doing their jobs. So it's the job of customer experience, is the job of the salespeople, it's the job of the marketing people, it's the job of HR, because HR has to be able to bring in customer-centric employees. If they don't, then the organization has already failed at that point. It's the job of the CEO and the executive, because the executive team has to drive customer centricity in the organization. They have to make sure that they have a customer experience strategy. It's the job of finance, because finance has to be able to pay employees on time, because again, if your employees are not happy, then that's going to shape how they treat your customers. Yeah, so we always say employees first. Yeah, because if they're disgruntled, then it's going to reflect in your customers. So that's how we've really evolved in the aspect of customer experience over the years.
And what I'm hearing is everyone is chipping in.
Everyone has to chip in.
Everyone has to chip in.
Yeah.
Marie, is there an example of an initiative or a strategy that you've ever put in place that brought about a culture shift or a culture transformation within the company and the industry that you were working in?
Yeah, thank you, Bella. First of all, I'm glad to be born in a country that prioritizes customer experience. It's your first time to be in Rwanda, and you gave me amazing examples. Why? Because we have a supportive country, supporting leadership that has brought and is putting a customer experience agenda at the forefront of everything. So that takes it back to all organizations and everyone's goal when it comes to how we want to make our people feel, being in a business environment, being in hotels where you guys hospitality, being in any business you could be interacting with. So that is a common agenda for the country. Now, when it comes to what we saw in the past, and of course, there's a very big difference and there's a very good trend because it had to be intentional for the country and then intentional for every business. Because yes, we all sell services. Whoever has a shop is selling service, but you need to have that unique identifier, competitive advantage that makes you be like, wow. Why does Bella need to come to my shop? It's how I treat Bella. So why, why should I go? Why should I bank with this bank? Why should I go to this specific shop? Why do I have this merchant? So everything, and we were talking about that when we were in the CX Touchpoint Customer Experience Forum for Africa, is about your competitive advantage. Is about how you listen to your customers, is about your strategy, is about how you listen to them and then translate what they gave you as feedback into actions. And that makes it work, whether it's, and you simplify your processes, whether you are in a public institution or whether you are in a private sector, or whether you own a shop, whether it's a school. So every business needs its customers to be heard, understood, and taken care of. I'm also saying this because proven research is that 86% of our customers, they're actually willing to pay for the service, for a good experience, than being served, than anything else. So they don't care how much you charge them, but they care about what impact are you bringing. And this is why customer experience has to be a strategy, not a nice to have. So what that tells me is that it doesn't have to be an agenda, it doesn't have to be a department, it has to be a behavior. And when it comes to behavior, it becomes a culture organization agenda, because now people have to understand the reasons why you exist. And when they understand why you exist and then the values for the organization and what matters, then they have to change. This is why you bring in change management aspect to say, for us to be able to achieve our strategic objectives, then we need to have initiatives that shapes our behaviors. So some of the organizations will bring in creating cross-functional teams for people to understand why do we have to work together. And some will simplify their processes, as I highlighted, for us to understand what makes our customers feel taken care of? What makes them appreciate the products and services? What do they want? Some would go to products, what our offering, so that they look it at as entire package and meet and exceed customer expectation. Especially that today, if I'm talking about banks, you can bank with telcos, you can bank with banks. You have so many platforms where you can keep your money. So to me, we need to make it work.
Yeah. All right. This is so interesting. So you've spoken against a couple of areas where customers are looking to be served. And it got me thinking, there must be a customer experience leader in that organization who has certain attributes that would lead to creating. So there's the developing of a customer experience strategy, there's the implementation of that customer experience strategy. And what I'm thinking, please confirm, ladies, is that customer experience leader has certain attributes that enable them to be able to bring an organization together towards a certain strategy, and not only in the development, but also in the implementation. Stella, describe for us that customer experience leader.
Okay, so I think that maybe I'll be a little bit controversial with my next statement. I feel like a lot of organizations have probably, they've probably heard out there that, we need a CX head or a director of CX, not quite knowing what this person is exactly expected to do or what they're supposed to bring to the table. And maybe they know that they might bring some change, but they bring in this person as a nice to have, as you said. And then not realizing that for this person to even effect any type of change, they have to have budget. Understand? They have to have backing of the executive. So the sad thing is that a lot of these CX leaders end up kind of stuck in an organization where they've got a big title. They're probably getting paid well, but they're not able to implement any real change. They want to implement a contact center. It's got technology behind it, expensive technology a lot of the time. They can't do it because there's no budget. No budget was allocated to them. They want to implement a CRM system. There's no budget. So it just kind of kills them slowly. But in an ideal environment, where change is possible, a customer experience leader is somebody who's driven, one who's knowledgeable. Because if you're leading the organization in CX, you have to know what you're talking about. You've got to have some experience. You've got to know what works for what strategies will potentially work for this organization. They've got to be tough, because implementing customer experience strategy comes with a lot of change management that's got to be done, and you get a lot of resistance. I've been in that space before, and you need to be able to convince, your peers in the organization. Somebody who's got good stakeholder engagement, because to be able to present something to the executive, you need backing of your peers. You've got to go to your head of sales and tell him how this solution that you want to implement is going to benefit him. You've got to be able to go to your finance head and convince him, because he's going to release the budget. You should also, speak to the head of marketing and everybody involved in the journey. You've got to be able to handle your stakeholder engagement in a nice way, so you don't get into the boardroom and announce you need let's say $100,000 for a customer experience system, and the head of sales is thinking, what are you talking about? Because the salespeople are bringing in the money. The finance guy says 100,000 what? So you need to make sure that you form relationships. So a CX leader is also a people's person, beyond their peers, his or her peers. Their teams to be, to be convinced why these strategies are important for them, or what value these strategies are going to add to them or into their lives. And a lot of CX technologies, a lot of CX systems actually make employees' lives easier. So in as much as sometimes you get resistance to this change, you realize, like, for example, I talked about a CRM. When you implement a CRM, it means getting rid of manual processes, paperwork, Excel sheets, emails, everything is going to a system. So you've got
less work for employees and just easier life. And as I keep saying, happy employees make for happy customers. You want a leader who is able to, speak about the organization. And speak to people, and so they cannot be shy. They need to speak about the changes they're making, what value those changes have brought to the organization. It needs to be somebody who also talks about numbers, because we don't implement CX just to look nice as a business. It has to impact the bottom line. You have to look at the return on investment. So you want someone who can talk about those numbers, and show value. So you need a sturdy person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So gone are the days when customer experience personnel or people were known as, the pretty girl who sits behind a desk or at the front office and just smiles and does nothing else.
And has a headset on.
Yeah, or has a headset on. No, that's not it.
Yeah.
So things have changed.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yes, Marie.
Yeah.
maybe to speak into what she's saying. I think pretty much organizations, when they're looking for a CX lead or CX head, they're just looking for that person you just described.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're looking for a problem solver. They're looking for someone who has problem-solving skills.
Yeah.
They're looking at someone who has decision-making.
Decision maker. Yeah.
They're looking for a fighter, because you get to be create cross-functional team, make everyone understand why.
Fight for budget.
Not even the budget. Fight for impact.
And impact,
for customers. So to me, is pretty much the CEO of the company. He's the CEO of the company or the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Because you get to get involved into or make decisions or bypass processes. Because there's that person there who's waiting for you to get him sorted.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a problem-solving person.
Yes.
With capacity of driving business, understanding of the business mindset, a commercial person who has a commercial mindset, accountability, that person who's okay, I am there for the company. And this is for the organization, not for me as a person.
And you're right, because they've really got to be customer-centric. At the end of it all, they have to be able and willing to, I say fighting for the customer, because sometimes it's exactly that. Sometimes as a CX leader, you find yourself,
Putting on some boxing gloves.
in an effort to fight for this customer. And I think that person also has to be able and willing to go the extra mile. We, of all the people in the organization, we don't have that choice. You have to look at, if a customer presents a problem, particularly one of the more challenging ones, you can't afford to be saying hard no's. It can't just be no, it's a company policy.
No.
You have to think outside the box and see, who do you need to talk to? What do you need to do to make sure that this problem is resolved for the customer? Because ultimately the buck stops with you. As a CX leader, you can't escalate. Who are you escalating to? The buck stops with you. You're it. You have to come up with that solution, and you have to be able to calm your team. You have to be approachable to your team. People management is critical. You're managing the people who are managing the customers. So how you manage them, how you correct them when they make mistakes, how you empower them, no micromanaging, how you train them, give them the necessary skills that they need to be able to do this not so easy job. You've got to be approachable. You understand? While keeping it professional, of course. But you've got to be able to balance all these things.
And we're saying that there's room in case there's a CX leader who's watching and saying, I'm halfway there. It sounds like they're describing me, but I still have some things that I need to work on. And we are saying that there's a community. Right? There's a community of customer experience professionals like us who are available on LinkedIn and other platforms, and we're saying that we've walked the journey. We can hold your hand and we can walk with you. But we are also saying that there's room to train and even to coach fellow senior management team members in the organization, not to mention the C-suite, if I can put it that way. I've been in environments where I've literally had to educate my fellow leaders And I know this gets said a lot. Speak in the language of your customer.
Yeah.
And so when I'm speaking to my peer in data, I need to speak numbers, and I also need to speak to some extent the technology he's using.
Yes.
If I'm talking to the person in digital, and maybe they have an idea that they want to embrace around AI, given that AI is a buzz right now. And I'm saying this might not be a match for our customers, but at the same time, I want a win for them. And so I must learn how to collaborate. I must learn how to tell my story so that it's captivating to someone in another function. And I must create even projects, like co-create projects where they win and CX or CS or the customer or the customer facing team wins as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to navigate this conversation now into the area of data and numbers and talking numbers. And there is this specific role in the customer experience team structure. Let me call it a team structure because sometimes it's organizationally aligned and centralized in data and analytics, or sometimes it is a role that is exclusive of a business analyst, a customer experience analyst who sits within CX. And I don't think enough gets said about that role.
That's true. You're right.
I've heard of, oh yes, we have financial analysts in our business. Yes, we have operations analysts in our business. I am not hearing we have customer experience analysts.
Yeah, that's true.
That's also because they're not called customer experience analysts. They'll go by business performance, business analysts. I've had a statistician as well. Yeah, so I think, unless I'm wrong, but I've not heard of a customer experience, unless maybe customer experience data analyst. I don't know,
That one.
Yeah.
And what then are we saying to organizations in terms of CX data? No matter what we call that person, or where they sit in the organization, what are we essentially saying about customer experience data?
Ideally, that's a very good point you just brought in, because that role doesn't exist. But that takes me back to reflecting on what we've discussing yesterday in the forum. That how do we use data, customer voice of a customer, to actually guide business and form strategies. So yes, we have data. We have data coming from all points of sales, coming from the surveys, coming from, all points of sales. But to which extent are they translated into insights? So we need to create a function that goes into analyzing and interpret those data and be able to explain what do they mean to the organization. If a certain organization had, let's say, has a customer base of 100,000 clients, and every month they have about 100,000 complaints, that should literally say, what does that mean to the organization? Is it a problem of product? Is it a problem of our offering? Our systems? That should lead them to deep dive to the root cause of the problem and be supportive. But are we using those tools if we don't have data analysts that qualify, who both have the customer experience aspect and the analytics aspect, which I think we don't have. Either one has the data analytics or doesn't have, or is the customer experience, but it's had to be a match. Maybe as we think of taking customer experience to the next level as on the continent, and the CX Academy and CX Pro, we should think of how do we empower or give certain courses that teach people to be customer experience analysts so that we can value the data we have to the organization.
And I think you actually cannot do without this person.
Okay.
Yeah, because also you cannot succeed in your CX strategy and even just in your business transformation without collecting customer data. The more data you have on your customers, the better for you as a business. The better you're able to read your customers, understand what they like, the better you're able to position products that are best suited to them, cross-sell, upsell. So you need data. Without data, you're basically just blind as a business. You've seen on Netflix, yeah, after you've watched a few movies and a few series, it starts to tell you, we believe you love this. And chances are when you watch it, you're gonna love it. So like my Netflix knows me. I'm sure your Netflix knows you. Netflix knows us. They've studied us. They know this is what you like. And so, your tastes guide, I guess, the algorithm. Yeah. And it's the same with even YouTube. The other day I went to a designer store. Not that I wanted to go to a designer store out of the country. My friend took me to a mall and she likes this store. It's a handbag store. So we walked in. It's called Tony Birch. We walked in and I ended up buying a small wallet. Yeah. Again, I did not know this designer before that visit. Next thing I know, anytime I open my social media pages, Tony Birch advertisements are coming.
Wow.
So it's what we keep saying, that somebody is listening. Google is listening. Sometimes I can be on phone with you and I talk about, my fridge broke down. I need to get maybe an LG fridge. And then the next, even a few minutes later or an hour later, suddenly it's presenting fridges, e-commerce sites where you can get the fridges, and I mean, it helps whoever is behind this make the sale. So we can't do anything without data. But then we also have to be, you can collect a lot of data, but what are you going to do with this data? Yeah, so you have to be intentional, and that's where this person comes in. Starting, say, with the CRM. I think for me, based on experience, for starters, in the CRM, you have to be able to customize it so well that clean data is coming in.
Yes.
Don't leave too much to human intervention, If you want people's names starting with, a capital letter here, you have to make sure you've accounted for that sort of thing. If you only want a particular number of digits going in, on a particular tab, you've got to account for that. So you have to customize it as much as possible to avoid errors, because garbage in, garbage out. If you put in garbage, then even this person that you've brought in to do this analytics job is not going to be able to do their job. We have a lot of information coming from voice of the customer platforms, and that's very critical, because as a CX leader or as a business, you should not be implementing strategy without having heard from your customers and confirm that the customer actually wants this strategy.
Yeah.
So you have to listen, you have to ask questions. They respond to you. Yeah. Again, not a nice to have. You've asked them. Yeah. They expect that if they gave you detractor feedback, which is like negative feedback, you should be able to act on it. How are you gonna do that if you're not analyzing this data and saying, out of the 1,000 customers that we send this survey to, we've got 20 complaining about price for this product. We've got X number complaining about quality of this product. And that's what this person does. Looks at the trends, looks at the themes, and creates a story out of the feedback that's coming in. Or even at the contact center. And it's important to note that a contact center is an evolution from a call center. A call center would only receive calls, but at the contact center, you're interacting with customers through omni-channels, multiple channels. So it's an omni-channel experience. So there's so much data coming in. You've got data from your social media pages. You probably got tools that are listening, the social listening tools that are listening to what customers are saying about your brand in different other pages that are not yours, that you don't have access to, but information is being picked. You've got information coming in from what the agents are feeding into the call management systems, that this call is about this or is related to this. So there's a lot of data to analyze. This person is necessary. If you have invested as a business or a CX leader in all these technologies that are bringing you data and you're not able to read it, analyze it, create a story about it, and make change, transform your business based on what customers are telling you, then it's pointless.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, and the CEO said to me, Bella, we've noticed that we have higher retention rates. and that our customers are now consuming more than one product, not just the entry-level product, but more than one product. Please tell us what it is you've done within your function and all the different initiatives you've rolled out that has brought these results. Now, I'm going to admit to you, ladies, and to our audience, I said to him, since we've been doing multiple initiatives, we know this. I am honestly not able to tell you which one or which ones combined have resulted in this. Now, what I learned from that scenario is, one, he acknowledged that it was our function that must have done something differently. First, for me, that was a win. Just that. It means he must have looked all through and seen maybe that other functions are at status quo, they're at comfort level, but there must be something different. And so when I said that to him, I then said, I would want to be able to answer you with a certain level of accuracy the next time you ask me that question. And then he said to me, then what do you want? And I said, I have identified a technology tool that enables me to pick from multiple places. The customer is interacting with our brand, and they are giving us feedback, whether it is solicited because I asked them through a survey or I asked them on a call, what else can I do for you? Or it's unsolicited. They wrote us an email, and in the process of writing us an email to onboarding them on the platform, they made sure to add that so-and-so was so good to me. And so it's unsolicited feedback, but it's there. And so I said to him, I need the tool that will enable me to mine the voice of the customer. And I'll not tell you because I think or I feel, I will tell you because the data is showing me that the customer's behavior and the customer's feedback is 1, 2, 3. Interestingly, that same technology, and I did not know it at the time, that same technology enabled my team to log in initiative dates. So if we rolled out an SMS initiative, we would be able to go onto that platform, log it in as the date, what the goal of that initiative is, and the description of those initiatives. And so we started logging in multiple initiatives based from, we are listening to detractors and this happening. We've decided to change our onboarding process. We've decided to always attend a sales meeting on this and this date. We've decided we started logging in all our initiatives. The next time he asked me that question, I was able to tell him, it's this, and it's this. And I want to bet you if we continue working collaboratively, interestingly, all of them were collaborative initiatives. It was not anything that just sat with my team. It was collaborative initiatives. We worked with marketing and changed the messaging of the email marketing that's going out to our newsletter and to our blogs. And I was able to say this, and this gave us better quality leads. This led to customers who bought more or referred others. And this is what, now he asked me, to the tune of how much. I need to be able to know what you've shaken up to the business. There's a cost to that platform. We paid for a pilot for that platform. You've proved what you needed to prove, but there was some money that left the business. And from what you're saying, there's some money that has come in. So has this been part of, am I describing something that is foreign or familiar to you?
No, you're actually right, because you're going to run, as a CX leader, you're going to run into that problem with the executive management, because again, we keep saying it's not a nice to have. You're using resources, you're asking for budget what's the return on investment? You know, with all these technologies that you're rolling out as a CX leader, you've got to show value. You need to even make your contact center a profit center. It needs to be a profit center. You've got to find ways to position value-added services, ways to cross-sell, ways to upsell, because ultimately when you're in that boardroom with your peers at the exco level, you need to demonstrate the numbers. Okay, you spend this amount of money on this. What has that, you know, increased in? You understand? I remember you're talking about SMS marketing. And I remember when I started doing SMS marketing for the first organization where I actually did that. And it was so interesting because we were so excited to use this platform that sends out messages to like so many people, your entire customer base. And then you've put a call to action, call this number and you know, customers will call, especially if you've given an offer. Yeah. And we did not even think about the fact that the call center is not adequately staffed to have hundreds of customers calling exactly at the same time. So guess what? Half the calls dropped. And if you know about the service level in the call center, that plummeted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there, even if you're making sales, you've failed, and now you've even caused a negative customer experience because people have been trying to call you. They've been on queue. They can't get you. They've been on hold for 10 minutes. You're not adequately staffed. So there are so many components into this. You know, you have to look at how you have to position the various activities you're doing to even generate sales. But at the end of the day, you have to show the number, because sometimes they'll tell you, is all you do just resolve complaints?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, is that all you do? You're just there looking nice, flowery, you know, just resolving complaints. What else? What value are you adding? You know, and maybe they'll give you budget just, you know, to see let's see what she's gonna do with that. If you want budget for the next technology, you better show the ROI on this. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that you can't run away from that. Yeah.
A question to ask is that, how many companies do you think, let's say on the continent, have been able to break down that problem? Because we need to be able to quantify the service failures. Because I don't think, to my experience, I don't think we are there where we sit and say, okay, our service rate this year was 90%. Then what does the 10% of downtime means to us in terms of loss? And that is on our balance sheet or on our P&L. Because if it was there, then this is where we bring in accountability. This is where we know what can we do better, or where do we invest, and we see it as a customer problem. So I don't know, from your experience.
It's not common.
Yeah,
it's
how,
not
how
common.
do we get there? How do we bring that to make sure that the failure, the cost is broken down, and people would understand that there should be return on investment.
Yes.
Whether it's a people investment, whether it's strategy, whether it's a business solution that is being brought. How do we get there?
I think, and I'm speaking from experience, one of the ways, and accountability is important, as you said, is your VOC platforms, voice of the customer platforms, where we are measuring customer satisfaction through various metrics, like customer effort score that measures how easy it is or how difficult it is for customers to interact with your business or to get access to your products and services, customer satisfaction scores or CSAT, and net promoter score, otherwise known as NPS. And for the sake of our audience, if you've gone, you've interacted with a business and you've gotten a message after making a purchase or after interacting with them asking on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend? That's a loyalty question. The business is trying to figure out, you know, how loyal you are to them. So with a VOC platform, it's important to integrate it with an ERP solution. I think ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning.
Yeah.
Because that's the finance system. So if you integrate them, you're able to tie your promoters, those are your happy customers, with actual revenue. Yeah, this customer who said, I'm very happy with you. I love speaking to Bella when I come to your store. And that person, you can tell from the ERP system when they came in, they spent, say, 50,000. I will use Rwandan francs because I'm in Kigali, you know, or 100,000 Kenya shillings or whatever the currency is. You're able to tie this positive feedback to this number. So that tells you that if you keep this up, because this happy person is going to likely bring in their friends, they're going to refer their friends and they're going to bring you repeat business. Yeah. So you know that you can only gain more in terms of revenues. On the other side, if you've got the customer telling you, I did not like the attitude of Marie's attitude when I came into the store today. You know, she was rude. She was this. I did not like how, you know, Stella did not give a discount. And yet when I come in, Marie gives, you know, that kind of negative feedback. Or there was a problem with quality or whatever it is, because, you know, there are wide-ranging complaints. And then you look at that and it ties to, like, if you look at this person's purchases, especially if they've been a repeat customer, and you're looking at like 1 million Kenya shillings or 7 million, 10 million Rwandese francs, that tells you that's how much you're going to lose when you lose this customer.
Yeah.
Because this disgruntled customer will go to the competition. They will give negative word of mouth. Yeah. So they're going to negatively affect your brand, how your brand looks, you know. So that's a good way to tell, you know, we're losing this amount of money because of these unhappy customers, and this is what they're complaining about. If we're able to sort this out, then this revenue comes back, we're able to retain it. So yeah, I'd say that's one good way.
That's definitely one of the ways. I'm thinking the customer experience leader that wants to account for the top line as well as the bottom line for the business, and thus value, is also a customer experience leader who has taken their time to understand the business model.
Absolutely, yeah. That's true.
So if you're in a manufacturing industry and you understand that production is determined by the number of quantities of input that's put into a machine, and the output and how it looks like involves delivery, it involves invoicing. If you're in the banking industry and you know this is highly regulated as an industry, so is insurance, and you know that you have to follow certain stipulated processes and procedures when it comes to acquiring customers or when it comes to disbursing of loans, for example, and you're having to follow that process. If you take the time to understand the business model, you can already start to craft a customer journey that follows a certain process for acquiring, buying a product or a service. When you do that, you're immediately able to also identify what we call the moments of truth. These are those high peak or low trough moments where a customer can decide, I'm never, ever gonna buy from this brand again.
And I'm gonna tell everyone.
And I will tell everyone. You know what the numbers say, that when it's bad news, a customer can tell even up to 10 or 15 people. But when it's good news, they can tell about 5.
Yeah.
So
if at all,
and they can just be happy in their own space.
Yeah.
But even with that said, and you're able to identify, customers drop at this point. Customers stop to buy with us whenever this thing happens. And you go back to the business and say, like you said, Stella, to the tune of this much money from the month of August. The customers that had a poor experience in this line of purchase, it means they will potentially not buy from us again. And when we see their history, their lifetime value, this is a customer that spends 20,000 USD with us every 4 months. So what we are saying, in 1 year, in the next 1 year, if they never buy from us again, this is what it looks like.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you multiply it by the segment of customers that fall in that category, because they may not have had a bad experience now, but in case they ever do, or if we do nothing about what is happening right now, the size of the business we are likely to lose is this much money. I found
Yeah.
that CFOs are moved by these numbers.
Of course they are.
When you open a conversation with
Yeah.
much so.
hello, Mr. Madam CEO,
Yeah.
we are likely to lose 100 million Rwandese francs if we do nothing
If we do nothing about this
a
particular
certain
issue.
situation.
Yeah.
And they start to say, which situation? Where? What?
Yeah.
How can I? Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Please call the CIO, CMO, call everybody. The CEO cannot find out. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And that's how a CX leader is able to determine trends
Yeah.
in the customer experience now and in the future. We've said this is a person who can influence budget and people. This is somebody who can drive in the creation of a business strategy and its implementation. We've said this is a person who wants to learn, is willing to teach others, whether those are peers or those are people within her team or somewhere else in the hierarchy. Also people that might be higher in the hierarchy, and they are willing to give and go the extra mile. Yeah, we've said all of these things about that customer experience leader. So this conversation feels like it's ending without us giving the audience, something extra for them to go and think about, to go and marinate over. So we can close the session today. And I know the comments will come in and guys will be like, Bella, more. Please, how can we find Stella and how can I get a hold of Marie? I want to talk to them more. Or when are you shooting the next one? So let's close with that final thought and also telling the audience where they can find us for a continued conversation.
Yeah, I can start.
Yes.
One thing I would say in closing is that we need to listen more. We need to we need to listen more, first of all. We need to simplify our processes. And that's the second thing. And the third one, we need to be intentional about what we do and who we serve. Then that shapes us, that shapes our next future in customer experience. So to the audience, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm also on IG, and my email address is umurisamarifrancine@yahoo.com or gmail.com. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Marie. Stella?
Yeah, so I think I will close first of all by addressing employees in an organization. It's easy, particularly when you work for a big brand, to feel like I work for this, brand organization. I'm so important. I'm more important than the customer. But here's the thing. This customer pays your salary. Yeah, it's not HR that pays your salary. It's not finance. It's the customer. The minute you do something, or you and your colleagues do something to aggravate this customer, the business does something to aggravate this customer is gone. Them and their money. And the more of them you lose, the more likely that you could potentially lose your job in the future, because that's how companies start to downsize and retrench and, things like that. So customer first. This customer, look at them, see dollar signs. Smile and see dollar signs, because that's actually what they are. And to businesses that are looking towards enhancing their customer experience or creating a customer experience strategy, you can't run away from technology. And sometimes the technology seems so much, it might seem daunting, but it's not. And there are simple systems, particularly for SMEs. We do understand that SMEs have a limitation when it comes to budget and human capital. But you know what? With the little that you have, you can actually transform. And we at CX Pro Africa are very happy to walk that journey with you. We're very happy to come in. We do free CX maturity assessment tests just to check, where are you in your CX journey? Are you at 0? Are you at 5 at least? Are you somewhere? And then we're able to guide you on, what next? What should you do? What are your customers potentially looking for? And we start slowly, we walk the journey with you. We help build your strategy and we help transform your organization, help bring you a loyal customer or create a loyal customer base, happier customers. And you know what that results in at the end of the day? money. Yeah, so we're looking at CX Pro Africa to make you money. We are based in Nairobi, Kenya, but we serve customers across the continent. We are well versed with at least 48 countries or so in the region, Francophone, Anglophone, even Arab-speaking Africa. So, we're happy to walk this journey with you towards transforming your organization in terms of customer experience. You'll find us, we have a website, www.cxproafrica.com. If you go to our contact us page, you're able to send us an email through there. You'll find us on Instagram, you'll find us on Facebook, you'll find us on LinkedIn. Yeah, and we are still increasing our social media footprint. So we'll be happy to hear from you. Please reach out. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you so much, Marie. I'm glad we did this. We're reminding our audience we're coming straight to you from Kigali in Rwanda. My name is Rosebella Abok. You will find me on LinkedIn as Rosebella Abok. Happy to serve, very customer-centric, excited about communities and conversations that build the CX conversation.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.